Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Steve.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning. And Mike.
Which one?
Hello.
Hello.
And Jorvik is here.
Hi.
I should go Mike 1, Mike 2. No, it's Mike and Jorvik.
You could call him Mike Uck and Mike Us.
Nah.
No, okay.
Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by Telestream's Wirecast software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Time Live Streaming Gear. And good morning again, guys. How y'all doing, y'all?
Cold.
Yeah, very good here.
Listen to him, Mike. He's cold. He put his jumper back on.
Well, in the U.S., if you wear a jumper as a male, they'll talk about you.
Well, a pullover then. Call it a pullover.
Okay. Well,
It's
they're very useful for when you're cold.
Yeah, I mean it's 68 degrees here, which is ridiculous for the end of July.
It was 101 here yesterday, and a friend of mine is at Walt Disney World in Orlando, and it was 71 at that moment in time.
Right.
Now, is there a problem with it being 101 in Raleigh and 71 in Orlando?
Doesn't
Yeah,
make sense.
I'd say it's a bad thermometer down there.
I think it was right after a storm. It was one of those cold gusts that comes in and then it gets back to normal.
You know, I went outside this morning to take the dog out, and it is nice and breezy.
Yeah, it's only 80.
Yeah. But the breeze is something else. It's still, when you walk out, it hits you that it's hot, but it's nice. Yeah, global warming. Right. 71.
Hey,
70. What, Jorvik?
This is Sergey. Hi, guys.
Oh! Hello, Sergey. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Tilt the camera a little bit down so your head goes up.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, up. Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Yeah, global warming, 71 in Orlando, right, Minorly? Sure. It's not as bad as it could have been, though.
We could have had hail and thunder and all sorts.
Yep. Of course. So what's happening? I'm elated. Yesterday morning, 7 o'clock, Neville came over. We worked on the generator, put the new injection pump on it, and the thing fired right up. So that was nice. So now I have the second.
So what was the problem?
The injection pump, the diesel injection pump, the pump.
Isn't this thing a military generator that's like brand new?
No, not the second one.
Oh, this is the old one.
This is the older one. That's one that was a lot cheaper but had some problems.
Now, when did you get it?
About 2 months after I got the newer one.
And how big is it?
It's the same. It's an exact duplicate.
Well, like a 20 kilowatt?
15, rated 15 puts out about 25.
At least on military spec. And so what would cause that part to fail?
Dirt in the diesel.
You don't have we're going to get a letter now from whoever our mystery listener is telling us, oh, so now we're going to start talking about generators.
Yes, we are.
Well, maybe some of these generators have computers on them.
Yeah, it's always dirt in water in the diesel, dirt. I mean, what happened was the way that these generators work, it doesn't send the diesel directly to the injection pump. It pumps it up through a filter to what they call a day tank, which is like about maybe 2-gallon tank that's sitting up high in the generator. And from there, it's just by gravity going into the injection pump. That day tank has a float on it that it's like maybe an 1.5 or 2-inch shaft, copper, with a float that moves around it, just and with hardly any play. That thing seized, and apparently it seized and stayed dry for a long time.
For what, non-use?
For non-use.
And were you able to clean it out? And then we're going to move on. Were you able to clean it out and fix it, or did you have to replace
no.
it?
So this generator stopped working about 3 years ago after that snowstorm we had, and I couldn't start it since. So a couple of months ago, when Neville came over, he said, "Let's take a look at this." He took it out and he said, "Look, it can't fill it up. It's seized." So we took it apart, kind of loosened it up, and sandpapered it and everything, and the thing slides nice up and down. Put it on. The pump started pumping into it, filled it up. The diesel was coming all the way to the injection pump. The injection pump is the pump that, on diesel engines, that is distributing the gas, the diesel, to the different injectors. So that's really high pressured this fuel distribution. And it would get all the way to the top of it, but it will not come out of the ports, even if we took the lines out. So the next time Neville came over, it was, I know what it is. It's in there, something seized in the pump. It's just the top. So he opened it, and he's trying to move that lever, and it doesn't move. He said, this is seized really bad. So we worked on it and got it loose, and it started moving freely, but still nothing would come to the injector ports. So I said, okay, never mind. He tried to take the thing apart, and I said, this really needs, he said, this needs a bench with the right tools and stuff to rebuild this pump. You can't just do it like that here. So I went ahead and I ordered a new one, and he came yesterday, and we put it on and timed it right, turned it on. It took a few turns to get all the air out, and it fired right up. That was great.
Where did you order one?
From eBay.
How much was it?
The pump itself was $600.
And is this a military surplus part, or is this a new one from a manufacturer?
No, it's a rebuilt pump that they rebuilt in the shop. So this was rebuilt somewhere in Texas, Forts, I can't remember. It came with papers and everything, and the test results.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks new, but it's not.
Do you have to return your old one?
No.
Okay, you're echoing. You got your speakers too loud.
Okay. No, I don't have to return the old one.
Seemed to me like they would want it to rebuild it.
This is somebody who bought these pumps from somewhere.
So he's probably got 100 of them.
No, he had about 7 of them. But it doesn't matter. He could not rebuild them or do anything with them. He just bought them and he's selling.
Nice.
Reselling. Yeah, if you go to a shop, then they want a core. But the thing is completely apart. So I told Neville next time he comes, he can take it and they can rebuild it and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah, that guy probably bought them on eBay.
A what?
The guy you bought from probably bought them on eBay.
No, well, maybe no. I think
there's a big industry in people buying on eBay, getting real good deals, and then turn around and selling the same stuff and making more money on it.
It's possible.
No,
Yeah. But the main thing is now I've got a standby generator for the standby generator.
Cool.
So
Is it on a trailer?
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So
What
that's
you need to do is you need to store it here at my house so that I can run it for you and keep it going.
Hey, we'll talk about that. Hey, no. I mean, the only reason that I wanted it fixed now is because the main one gave me a problem. When this one stopped working, the other one also stopped working, but it only stopped working for a couple of hours. And somehow when I kept on trying again and again and again, and it finally started again. And it's right during that snowstorm, and we didn't have power. So it was, to say the least, it was disturbing not to have power, especially now when I'm thinking about some pumps in the basement. So I want to make sure that we have power. But it's fine. Yeah, it's a great generator, and he when he was listening to it, he said, "I'm not. This one sounds great." The one that I'm using was just rebuilt, so it had maybe 60 some hours on it. This one has 4,000 hours on it.
The one that you just fixed?
No, the one that I just fixed has about 4,000, over 4,000 hours.
That's what I just said. The one you said,
Yeah.
hey, this one has 4. I said the one you just fixed.
Yeah.
You said yes.
Yes. And but it's fine. I mean, it's a diesel engine, and it's a big mother. So yeah, I'm happy. So what else is going on?
Somebody wants to talk about computers in ice makers. They must have a computerized ice maker.
Computers in ice makers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There must be computers in ice makers.
Oh yeah.
Ice cream makers, maybe.
So
what is that, Mike? What about the computer in the ice maker?
You got me a commercial ice maker for Father's Day, and it requires our secret listener's going to drive them nuts. It requires obviously a water supply, but it also requires a drain.
Right.
And this drain it doesn't have a pump for the drain, meaning that the drain has to be below the level of the ice maker for gravity flow. Well, there's another complication with it. Because there's so little water that flows in the drain pipe, it tends to dry up and clog up, meaning that you have to have some sort of spritzer in there to keep water in the drain periodically so that it doesn't dry up. And what all that gets to is you can't get a damn plumber or electrician or painter or anybody in this town anymore. Everybody's so busy, they don't even return phone calls. I had an electrician come over here to give me a quote on something. We've had a brand new stove top, a range hood top with a computer in it to install. And because the power supply is not big enough, we need to go to a 40 amp instead of a 30 amp service. The guy came over here, looked it over, sized it up, said, "Okay, I'll give you a quote in a day or so." That's been 2 weeks ago.
And nothing.
No, normal nothing. I did have a kind of a really, I guess, an interesting thing. Well,
go ahead.
Home repair. Now we're going to do home repair.
Is it woodworking involved?
No, we got another woodworking story, but we want that one's not really exciting. But I had to do some work over at my daughter's house, and she has computers in her home. In fact, she and her husband both have computers, and some of their TVs have computers. So there we go. But I'm not a plumber. Every time I get involved with it, I hate it. I was over there for 2 hours last night trying to solve a problem. I finally said to heck with it and walked out, and I got to go back over there today. But things that start out simple sometimes get complex, unnecessarily so. It's just ridiculous.
It's always like that. That's not sometimes.
You know, at some point, there's got to be a threshold, even with computers, for example. There has to be a point at which you cross over a threshold and say, aha, I get it. I see what I've been missing. Well, I've been doing some little plumbing things off and on for 40 years. I still don't get it. I'm trying. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, getting back to the ice maker, the guy came over to look to see what we needed to do to put it in. And we're going to take a sink out of the laundry room because my wife doesn't want a sink there. She wants a flat surface, put the ice maker there. And he disconnected the sink and all that's in there. I said, okay, we'll take it out. Shoot, it's a major operation because they installed the plumbing to the sink after the cabinet was in place. So all the holes are exactly the right size. You'd have to disassemble all of the plumbing to get it out. So a guy who does painting is supposed to be over here after 5 tomorrow with a multi-tool. He says he can cut holes big enough to get it out, which is fine. It's always something.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah, like Tim says, if it was easy, how would you ever learn? Well, Tim, if you see who does this work, you realize it can't be that hard. But the reality is experience, contrary to what a lot of people believe, experience is the great teacher. And if you do enough of it, you'll get it. I just haven't done enough of it. And as much as I love climbing around on the floor in my knees and elbows, I'm not sure I'll ever cross that threshold to where I feel comfortable doing what I'm doing. The one vindicated moment that I did have, moment of vindication that I did have at my daughter's is that she has a leak under her kitchen sink. I went up in there, tightened things up, tried to, she's still leaking. Well, heck, I guess I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a plumber. I'm not apologizing. I did finally get my plumber buddy to go over there. He went in there, looked in there. He said, well, I hate to tell you this, you got to have a new faucet. This faucet is leaking. So it wasn't just me, but I couldn't see up in there. I mean, these guys are magic the way they get up in there.
Experience.
Yeah. Don says taking a sink out of a laundry room sounds like a big mistake. Don, not doing what the lady of the house wants is a bigger mistake.
Right. Much bigger.
You can always put the sink back in. You can't fix the lady of the house.
On a scale of 1 to 10, that's a big 10.
Yep.
If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
So, Sergey, what's new over on your side of the world?
Well, nothing much really. This week has been pretty hot, and it has been. Let me turn my video on. There it goes. Sorry.
Says the person with that all through the winter they have ice all over the place, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, we are the country of extremes here. It's not really hot here now, but it was about 39. It went up to 41 degrees Celsius, which is around 100, I guess, or 100 some
that's
Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a lot less than that. It's around 32-ish, which is, I don't know, 80, I mean, top 80, low 90s, I guess, Fahrenheit. Overall, it's cooled down a little bit, but half of the city is gone. They are on a nearby lake, which is about 200 kilometers away, about 150 miles away. So people are there enjoying themselves, and whoever is less fortunate, these guys are stuck under the air conditioning here in Bishkek. Talking about the global warming.
Yeah, right.
I think they prefer to call it climate change now, don't they?
May well be.
Climate change is the right word to call it. It changes from day to day. That's why we have weather people.
One
to
minute
tell
you
us.
have hailstones one day, and then in the afternoon you have 90-degree
Yeah.
heat.
That's what weather does.
Well, people confuse weather with climate. They're different.
Nah, it's one and the same. As far as I'm concerned, they're one and the same. And it's the same as it always was. It's just getting hot and getting cold, getting hot and getting cold. All right. Guys in the UK, an unknown hacker has hijacked the radio frequency of a UK radio station to play an obscene song 8 times during the past month, according to the radio station manager, who recently revealed the hacks in an interview with BBC Radio 4. The hacks have been reported to Ofcom, the UK's communication regulator, who, together with the radio station staff, have tried to track down the culprit at least three times, without success. Ofcom and radio station officials believe the hacker is using a mobile radio transmitter to broadcast a stronger signal on the radio station normal frequency, overriding its normal program. Isn't that something? This reminds me of the days of CB here and riding around in the car with the linear amplifier.
Yeah.
And when you...
It's for somebody to have a more powerful signal than the radio station itself, that does call to question how big's their transmitter.
Yeah, but they never said how strong their transmitter was. I mean, it could have been low power, right, Mike?
Probably. If it was a local radio, it wouldn't have much power.
Oh. But it's an interesting situation to do something like this, to just hijack it and play a song. There was also something that was a lot closer to this situation, only it wasn't obscene. If anybody saw the movie The Young Ones with Cliff Richard, that's what they did. They didn't use a car, they used a cart that they were like in a market, and they had transmitter inside, and they would play songs. So it's kind of the same thing. What is the, on the average, what's the power of radio stations in the UK?
Well, yeah, that radio station was Mansfield, which is a town not far from me, actually. So it was only the radio station only covers that town and the immediate area. So I should imagine the transmitter will be very low power.
Yeah. And
the thing is, a lot of the frequencies, they have to be low power because quite a lot of small radio stations use them, so to stop overlap.
Right. That's what I was thinking, that because it's so dense as far as the different localities, that you can have strong transmitters going that will cover a bunch of cities, and they're clobbered each other. But it's I don't know what the guy, this, it seems like it's a prank. But
yeah.
So is everybody using CCleaner?
Yeah, I use it regularly.
And some people using Avast. Avast antivirus? Well, Avast bought Piriform.
Oh, right, okay.
So now they own CCleaner and some other utilities. And I've been swearing by CCleaner as far as removing all the temporary files and cleaning and getting the computer.
Yeah, I've used it for a few years. I'm very pleased with the way it works, the free one.
Yeah, there's no reason to pay for it. I wonder if they'll keep it free.
I think they will because they've got the pro version, which is paid for. That I think they do sell a lot of those because they do promote it quite heavily, don't they?
Yeah. Some people were saying that you should not use the register cleaner, that it can screw things up. Anybody here had that situation? And either on the panel or in the chat. And call us. Let us know. Go ahead.
I've used registry cleaner a few times, and it always backs up first, and I've never had an issue with it.
Yeah, actually, I have the same situation. And when I was using Windows, I used registry cleaner quite frequently. There's lots of junk there that I removed using it, and having backed things up. I mean, nothing happened afterwards. In fact, a few errors just disappeared. I mean, once I ran the registry cleaner, I think it's a good tool, and they should be used carefully, sparingly with the prior backup. But it's a good tool overall.
Yeah, I use it. I never, knock on wood, I never had a problem with it. I run the register cleaner once a week.
If you're worried or concerned it might do damage, it backs up. It always asks you to do a backup first, but before you run it, just create a restore point and then run it. And if you do have an issue, you can get back to where you were.
Right. You can always recover if you do backups, not just with CCleaner, in general. It's a good practice. Any way you look at it, and Avast has been working pretty good in the last few years. I actually canceled my subscription and just went with the free one because the paid for version was just nagging, too naggy. Oh, we found this. Oh, we found that. Oh, we, and none of it was important stuff. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to switch. Possibly, if they may incorporate things. I don't know. And those of us that have Amazon Echoes, and there's quite a few of us around, pay attention. According to the information, Amazon may give developers access to your private Alexa audio recordings. Until now, Amazon has not given third-party developers access to what you say to the voice assistant, while Google has with its Google Home speaker. Engadget reports, so far Alexa developers can only see non-identifying information, like the number of times you use a specific skill, how many times you talk to your Echo device, and your location data. The information reports that some developers have heard from Amazon representatives about more access to actual transcripts, though how and how much wasn't discovered. If developers knew what exactly is being said to their skills, they could make adjustment based on specific information. I mean, I don't understand why can't Amazon say, we'd like for you to consent. We're trying to make it better. So if you don't mind, we want to give part of your recordings to the developers so they can do a better job. So if you're concerned about privacy and all that, you say no, thank you. But I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would say, oh yeah, sure, here. wouldn't that solve their problem of having information to give to the developers while keeping everybody happy?
I am sure that if you read the terms of service, you've already given them access to your bank account and everything else. You know, when you get these, there are new terms of service from Endure, new terms of service from whomever, and nobody reads that crap. And
Right.
the reason they're doing it is because they're all selling your information.
Yeah.
You, Sergey, you guys have Amazon over there?
No, we don't, but I've heard a lot about the Echo and the situation with those. Basically, I think the issues that the big guys are having with the users is that, for the most part, the big guys are a little tired of the small guys having all of that, sitting on all this data.
Mm-hmm.
And with the big guys not being able to tap into those big sources of useful information, I think they're trying to find loopholes. There's been several cases whereby folks would tweak the terms of service, manage to get away with certain things that they never had before. I can see that the world is slowly moving towards the lesser privacy, and the people not. I'm reading through the big 40-page documents. Oh, of course. I mean, once you get an email in your mailbox saying our terms of services have changed, what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna go through the 43 page document with the highlighter and say, "Whoa, you gotta be kidding me!" I mean, are you gonna cancel your subscription just for?
Right, you don't.
You are left with no choice, and legal.
I'm not sure I totally agree with you, because there are some services that are popular that not all of us use as intently as we otherwise would. But for example, I don't use Snapchat and some of the others, Tumblr and some of these others. They're very popular and very useful for your application. The fact is that as things become more and more open, and as they continue to breach privacy, I gravitate away from them. And while my leaving makes zero difference at all, over time, as people realize their loss of privacy is ridiculous, they're going to probably limit the number of places where they give up their privacy.
They would try their best. I mean, those who care about it, which is about 5 to 10% at most, they would be concerned. But 90%, I mean, they would not even know the difference. And even if they do this, what the heck? I'm not going to be bothered with this. I have bigger problems. The big guys are risking to lose 5 to 10% of the most. I don't know whether they are the most paid customers. They probably are for the most part. But obviously, they are those that read the terms of services and act according to that. But I would agree with you that while bring up the awareness amongst the people that giving up the privacy rights is gonna screw you over in the long term. But for the most part, I do not yet see the trend of people understanding it. I may be wrong, but I think for the most part, people are a little careless about this at this time.
Yeah, well, it's the same argument, though, that people didn't realize that smoking caused cancer until we learned that smoking causes cancer. And these people haven't experienced issues with privacy loss yet at their age. And in fact, because of selfies and all this other crap that's going on. People want more publicity. More publicity means less privacy. It's consistent with what they think they want. It's like tattoos. You get a tattoo at 18 and at 65, it looks kind of funny.
Yep. Yep. But you see, Mike, you have an advantage. You're an attorney. You can read those things, and you understand what they say. If I read them,
I'm going to help you right now so that you don't have to spend all the time. When you get updated terms of service,
yeah,
it's not so that they can protect your privacy and sell your information to fewer people.
So take it as a here it is. We're digging deeper into your stuff, and we're going to give more of it away.
Yes, I mean these license agreements and terms of service are not such that, you know what, we've been really bad people. We've sold your information to people that you wouldn't want to. That's why you're getting a lot of spam. But you know what? We've had second thoughts, and we're improving our privacy to you.
Mm-hmm.
When in fact, what they do is they change their opt-out provision. So now you got to go through 47 pages of legalese to figure out what you don't want to receive.
Yeah,
you know what? It really torques me off, and there's no winning the argument. But what really torques me off is when you go to a company and you make a purchase, and then these rascals start emailing you every day wanting you to buy something. And I send them back, and what I'll do is, of course, I'm kind of troublemaker sometimes, but what I will do when they start doing that is, and what really does set me off is when they send stuff from a no reply email address.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just reply and say, don't send me this. Okay, you're going to make me work. I'm going to work. So I do my research, and I find the email address for the chairman of the board, the CEO, the operations manager, the sales manager, the warehouse manager, and I copy them all on that reply email, that no reply email. And I say, since you sent this from a no reply email address, I'm not sure how to respond. I'm not going to create an account with your company to tell you that I'm no longer doing business with you because of your abusive email policies. And about half of them will bounce, but it's amazing how often you'll get a response, and they'll say, oh, we're so sorry, we'll take care of it. And I let it go at that. I mean, if they fix it, then I'm fine with it. I get that. I like business. I understand the need to get people to do business with you. I fully support that. But just when these people, they start emailing you every day just because you placed a one-time purchase with them.
Yep. Yep. But it's the price we pay.
Well, that's why you should have your own domain name, use one-time email addresses, and then block them.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to do.
And I do that, but I get lazy sometimes. So it's my fault, right?
No. Listen to this. No Windows 10 creators for you.
For who?
Microsoft says, at least not if you happen to be the unlucky owner of a certain older Atom-based Windows devices and other aging models in the future. After stories arose...
Well, I need to go get me one of those because Nick installed Windows 10 Creator and spent all day fighting it, trying to get his sound card working again.
Oh, he did?
So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, they said that stories arose of failed attempts to upgrade such hardware to the Creators Update. Microsoft confirmed late Wednesday that any hardware device that falls out of the manufacturer's support cycle may be ineligible for future Windows 10 updates. They want you to update your hardware too.
Well, everybody's got to race out and get an Atom processor.
Aren't there a lot of new Atom processors out there?
Well, yeah, fairly recently they were releasing new Atom processors, weren't they?
Yeah.
But I'm sure this only applies to certain models, though.
Yeah, it does. And they said that there's a list. Grade. There's a list on Microsoft that would show you which processors will not be covered. But it's can you imagine?
Such a new product, it's a surprise, isn't it? I mean, Windows 10 isn't that old, so it's quite surprising to do it at this early stage.
You actually get surprised by anything that Windows 10 does these days?
Well, perhaps it wasn't the best choice of words.
I mean, to finally say it, why couldn't they put a note? Somebody who sits there and tries it again and again and again and try to fight this and fight that. Why couldn't they have a note that says, you know, your hardware does not support it?
You've got an Atom processor.
Yeah.
Windows 10 update is not capable
Right.
on these devices. You know, just tell them straight off.
Absolutely.
You got old crap we ain't installed into it.
It's irresponsible to cause somebody all this anguish. Yeah, and you know, I mean, look at you. You spent weeks trying to get that new computer working, right?
Yep.
Imagine.
And I spent many hours and days
Right.
trying everything I could possibly think of, you know, from the experience I've gained over the years, and nothing worked. In
Right.
the end, I had to hold my hands up and say, well, you know.
In your case, it was the video card.
Yeah.
But imagine that after all this time and everything, you would have heard that, oh, my processor or my power supply, or I don't know, something in that computer, when Windows 10 sees it, it will not work right. Well, why didn't you tell me that to begin with?
Well, it knows why it's not going to install because of
Right.
that hardware device. So tell the person with the message on screen it's because of this.
Mm-hmm. That will be too responsible.
Well, that comes under the term of common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you all know, our post office is really making money left and right.
Is it?
Not.
Oh, okay.
And then the article goes, the U.S. Postal Service delivers Amazon's boxes well below its own costs. I don't know why. Like an accelerant added to fire, this subsidy is speeding up the collapse of traditional retailers in the U.S. and providing an unfair advantage for Amazon. First-class mail effectively subsidizes the national network, and the packages get a free ride. An April analysis from Citigroup estimates that if costs were fairly allocated, on average, parcel would cost $1.46 more to deliver. So why would the post office deliver Amazon's packages for less than what it cost them to deliver it? What, I mean, we don't have
Are you serious?
Okay, tell me why.
Really, you don't know the answer?
No. What? Is it just to get their name out there?
No. There are two reasons.
Okay, tell us.
Probably the legitimate one would be under some circles be referred to as absorption of overhead, and that is the post office has got to keep running.
Yeah.
And whereas they're not making a profit, they lose less by carrying $1.46 per package than they do by having people around sitting on their thumbs doing nothing. So there may be some value to them doing that. But the real reason is because of the company's influence with the government and what goes on behind the scenes. That it's like these solar companies, they get all these subsidies. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I will tell you that it's an option that's not available to Amnon.
Well, you see, I mean, the way I look at it is if the post office lowered their prices to compete with their competitors like FedEx and UPS and others, people will go there.
Post office is cheaper than FedEx and others.
For packages?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I want to bet. All right, go
No.
do a
No.
go look up a if somebody here has time, look up how much it costs to ship a 5-pound package. You want to do it just as a regular package or ground or air or what? Let's just say by ground. A 5-pound package from Raleigh to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. And you found out that it's cheaper with the post office.
Always.
So why do people go to UPS?
Because when it absolutely positively might get there.
I think a lot of it is convenience, isn't it? With the courier services, they come and pick it up.
Well, the UPS and FedEx used to be very trustworthy. It used to be that if you would have a chance of, or if you were concerned about your package getting broken, you'd never take it to the Postal Service because they throw them from one truck to the next. You'd take it to FedEx or UPS. Of course, UPS came in and they've dominated the ground market. Then FedEx came along, dominated the air market. Then they both crossed over into each other's territory. But the fact is that they all stink. I mean, Merle says the post office is subsidized by the federal government so they can ship cheaper, but they lose more packages and it seems to take longer. That's the common perception that's not necessarily true anymore. I was involved about 10 years ago in a business where we were shipping lots of packages each month. And by far and away, the Postal Service was the cheapest way to go. And the results were pretty decent.
Well, I like what John RTP said, that they make it up.
Yeah, but you got to say the whole comment though for people who weren't following along. Yes, they lose money on each package, but they make it up with volume.
Yeah. Some people, they believe that.
Well, the thing is, they must be going down some routes and down some roads anyway. So to stop at an extra 3 houses in that street because it's an Amazon package, they're going to be making money rather than losing money because they're there already for their own packages.
Mm-hmm.
And it works the other way too. They may have something that's 5 miles out of town, but they've got 2 Amazon packages that are on that route as well. Had they not had those packages, that would cost them a fortune to get to it. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah. How many of you heard about Let's Encrypt?
No.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
I think I heard. I mean, that's one of the viruses.
No.
Oh.
100 million HTTPS certificates were issued in the last year by Let's Encrypt, which is a free certificate authority founded by Mozilla, Cisco, and the Electronic Frontier Foundation. And they're now issuing more than 100,000 HTTPS secured certificate, SSL certificates, every day. There are complaints.
I heard about that.
Yeah, there are complaints that say that they should be performing more vetting. We use them. It's hard to set up, but once it's all automated, it works nice. The thing is, you have to renew your certificate every 3 months, not every year. So in case something happens, you're no longer there. But people are complaining that they need to perform more vetting. What's wrong with that statement?
I think the reason why people are really complaining about this whole thing, I mean, I actually had a very unfortunate experience with these guys.
Yeah.
We tried to get HTTPS certificates for a couple of our domains.
Yeah.
Using that service. It took our developers a couple of days out how the scripts work that would regenerate it automatically. there were a number of limitations. Had to pretty much buy like the cheaper one, the more expensive ones, the $15 ones, instead of, because we lost a lot more money on being busy with something else or trying to decipher how this darn thing works. And I think for the most part, it does not really, how to say, it has been created for the sake of keeping Google happy. So there is an HTTPS certificate. I mean, it does not really how to say that this person is the owner of the domain or something like that.
Absolutely. So. And if you think about it, I mean, I don't know why it took so long. I mean, it took Ron over here a couple of hours, which is a long time, to have everything in place that I can add somebody. But a lot of people think that SSL certificate, and there's a lot of other cheap ones. This is completely free. There's some of the cheap ones, and it is to tell them that if you went to https://1234.com, that it is actually a legitimate site. No, it is not. An SSL certificate is not to tell you and to assure you that you are on the correct site and that site is legitimate. An SSL certificate is simply a mechanism that allows your browser and the website that you are interacting with to communicate with encryption. That's all it's for.
Not exactly.
In the early days, it was you could buy one that they will. I mean, I remember having to go to wait 2-3 days before we get the certificate because they need the corporate papers, and they need to know who are the officers and how long you've been in business and all that. Today, it's not like that. Today, the SSL certificate is only for communication. You can go and buy one, Sergey, and pay a few $1,000s to let people know that you are who you say you are. But I don't know anybody that's doing that.
In fact, I mean, there are two reasons why people are buying SSL certificates, and these reasons are equally important for some people. To the others, they are the identity verification is a more crucial option. I mean, capability of the certificate. The certificates kind of ensure. And yet, for a bunch of the ability of encrypting the communication between the two servers via the HTTPS protocol is the more important one. For the most part, people tend to buy a certificate expecting both of these options and services provided in one single package.
Right.
Whereas this new service definitely got away from the concept of authentication, identity authentication, but toward the security of communication, and basically, I don't know. It's
no, Sergey.
No?
Ever since you could just get online, apply for an SSL, which is probably about 5-6 years, and receive and pay your money, which was cheap, like $25, $30, $35, and receive the certificate within minutes
Mm-hmm.
or even within hours, that's when...
Self-issued were always there.
A what?
Self-issued certificates were always there. People didn't use them for the authentication
Right.
of they used the credible authority to authenticate the ownership of the
Now,
website. So
we never, and it was said again and again, the SSL issuers are not there to police the internet.
mm-hmm.
They are only providing you with a way to feel good about the fact that your financial information is being encrypted between you and the website.
In other words, it's being stolen securely.
That it's being stolen securely. People believe that it's also for identification. It is not. Hasn't been for years now.
I would respectfully disagree with you on this one.
There is no way that anybody can vet you and figure out who you are in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour. Like I said, in the early days, it used to take days. Then came those cheap, and a security certificate was $100, $200, $300 a year. When the cheaper one came on, and you say, how can they do that? You realize that, okay, yeah, we don't care who you are. As long as you can protect your customer who's coming to your website and be secured as far as the data, that's all we provide you with.
I would respectfully disagree with you on this one, because I can give you, I can cite a very specific example. For example, the one that we got for our websites, an older one, I think cost about $100, $125. But it was a cheap one, wasn't an expensive one. So it took us several days of providing information. The people from the from the certificate issuing company calling us and verifying that theoretically we are what we are or who we are,
right?
And we are the bona fide owners of the website that we claim is ours.
Mm-hmm.
So a cheaper version came along. I don't recall what it is. Rapid SSL, I think, or something
Rapid
like that.
SSL.
$15 or $25. These guys, they still collect basic information about you and match it against your billing details, trying to confirm that at least certain portions of the information that you provided that authenticate you as the website owner of for the website that the certificate has been issued to, in fact matches the information that you provided. So it is, of course, not a very strong way of authenticating the ownership of for the website, but for the most part it does do its job. If you go, for example, to google.com and click the security certificate there, you would get the not only the HTTPS encryption capability, but also the confirmation that the website that you are browsing at this moment does in fact belong to google.com, not Google or Dougal.com, for example, or Doodle.com or whatever else. So you can in fact check in your browser that this is a Google or the the Alphabet website.
Yeah, you could, but unless you do your own policing of your traffic, let's say, or unless you know where you're going, you cannot depend on it. You cannot depend on it. Because
this is a little bit of a different. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, because a lot of people can go and they would get Google.com, and they get and they own it, and they get an HTTP. I mean, an SSL certificate. What does that mean? It means I own it. It doesn't mean that I'm honest. It doesn't mean that the website that has the SSL certificate is not going to sell your information. It doesn't mean anything as far as your security. All it means is that it can, that they applied for it and they got it.
True.
So
True.
yes, you can get the more expensive one that are for identity. And I'm sure some of the bigger companies do that.
Exactly.
But if we're trying to go into the trend that brought all this up is that because of all the hacking, they wanted to have everything run over HTTPS. And you cannot have everything run over HTTPS because not everybody is going to pay that $25 a year and $15 a year and $5 a year for a certificate.
Yeah, instead they're going to get the free one. Obviously, a Joe Schmo somewhere from middle of nowhere is obviously going to go to a Mozilla-owned website and download basically go through a number of I think it's like 2 or 3 websites that you have to go through in order for you to be able to create an automated script that would renew your subscription, that would reissue your certificate on a daily basis. It would mean that a person theoretically who is not well versed in computers is now at a greater risk because they have no capability of creating this. They're not smart enough to do it, or they're not technically versed enough to do that. And they are deprecated. I mean, their Google results are deprecated and reduced in value. And basically, you're screwed all around, and nowhere. No matter where you go.
Sergey, you're only screwed all the way around if you believe that the SSL certificate is for identification and to put you at ease that you are on it. That's the main thing about that whole thing, is that no, it is not for that. But if you believe that it is, sure enough, you're going to be screwed. I agree 100%.
All right,
that's the problem.
Let me give you a scenario. All right. So you're a website owner of a very small blog. Let's say a very small blog, custom-made blog or something like that. All right. Somebody is telling you that sometimes, you're popping your Chrome browser and typing your web, your address, HTTP address, goes to a page that goes, whoa, hold it right there. This page is not secure.
Right.
What are you going to do with this? So you
that happens
have
all
no
the time.
idea what it is about.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You're clicking to follow, read more. It says like you're supposed to get a website. You're supposed to get an HTTPS certificate, right? And there is this free option right there. You click there on that link. I forgot what it is. Let's Encrypt. Yeah, Let's Encrypt. You're clicking the Let's Encrypt website page, and it pops up. It's telling you it's free, blah, blah, blah. But there comes the caveat. You're supposed to come up with a script that would be installed on your hosting account, something you've never done before.
Right.
Remember, I'm a Joe Schmo from nowhere. I have no idea how this whole thing's done. And I have no scripting capability or understanding of that. So what am I gonna be? What should I do in this case?
Yeah, the only thing that you can do in this case is get somebody to help you with it, and that's what website owners do. They get somebody, when they come to Delta Force, we do it for them. We wrote the scripts that go ahead and do it. We decide who gets it and who doesn't get it.
It's only if they have responsible hosting owners,
absolutely,
such as like yourself.
Absolutely. And as far as I know, at this point, a lot of people use cPanel and some of the other ones, and they have it built in there.
It would not work with some cPanel setups. It would not work with some non-standard cPanel configuration.
No, I agree. But yeah, so it's something that if you're going to use it, then you need to be versed enough in how the web is being used and how to configure stuff to be able to do it. Otherwise, stay out of it or go to a host that can help you with it and do it for you.
Exactly.
But, you know, I mean, it's this, you can say the same thing about a car. Well, I mean, so my alternator breaks down. I'm not a mechanic. Well, what do I do now? How can I fix it? I'm screwed. No, you're not screwed. You have to take it to a mechanic who will fix it for you. You don't know, you know.
I fully agree with you. So however, let me give you this point. If you are not like spending days and hours with your website, if you have a website somewhere out there and you don't really spend the time to understand how this whole thing is run, it may take you like several months, if not a year, to come up to a realization that your website is somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
With Google not showing it to, and you're not realizing this whole thing, that your ratings, Google ranking, is slowly and consistently artificially by Google, because I mean, I understand why Google wanted to do this whole thing, what the underlying purpose of that, but the amount of small business owners whose websites are hampered by this security freak out by Google is humongous. And
I mean that's
the idea. You shouldn't be doing it like this. You shouldn't be doing it as part of an alliance without. I mean, you have a lot of marketing budgets, obviously. Google and all those guys.
But look, this Let's Encrypt. You know who put it up?
I think I am Mozilla. Facebook.
Mozilla, Cisco, and the EFF. I mean, these are three respected organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to put something into it and say, yes, this is good. And it's been working for us. It's been working for us great. I know that.
Because you have Ron right there.
I agree.
2 hours for a well-paid specialist, that's a hell of a lot of money right there. And they've made it deliberately unusable for 99% of people.
Okay, so maybe that's one way to police it. It's okay, we'll leave it up to the ISP to do this. I don't know. But
are we talking about Let's Encrypt?
Hey, Nick.
Hey, good morning. Are we talking about Let's Encrypt?
What?
Yeah.
The biggest pain in the ass in the world. It is worth just paying for a regular SSL cert and call it a day. It lasts for like 3 years.
Yeah, you can buy a 5-year one.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
You're right.
Yes.
You're absolutely
ridiculous. I have not even bothered with Let's Encrypt because it is the biggest pain in the ass in the world.
Well, I mean, you see that it depends who. For me now, to add somebody in a Let's Encrypt thing, it takes me about 2 minutes. A whole lot
what do you
easier.
Benefit from that?
A whole lot easier than it takes me to add an actual SSL that somebody bought.
But this is interesting now.
As far as renewing, it happens automatically.
That's because Ron wrote you something.
I know.
Yeah.
He wrote it, and it's working great. And I'm sure there are. So now, is it working through cPanel? You use cPanel, right, Nick?
I used to. I don't anymore. I'm not sure.
It is not working.
Or the other one, whatever you call it.
It works through Plesk, doesn't work through cPanel. This is the problem. There's a lot of like little GitHub projects for auto renewing, and Sean was using one, and the project didn't work, and all of his certs expired, and he had to go through and redo all the stuff on his website.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Ron was explaining to me how they do it and what do they require, and as long as they see that the website is still up, they will renew it, and it all happens automatically. I set it up, and that's it. So it works for us. But again, the point of the story here was that when you get an SSL certificate, that does not tell you that let me rephrase. A cheap SSL certificate does not guarantee you that the website you're on is a legitimate website. All it's for is for encrypting the traffic between you and the website.
See, this is the biggest problem with Let's Encrypt now. It completely nullifies the point of somebody going out. I mean, SSL certificates aren't the cheapest thing in the world. I mean, if you own hundreds of websites and you're pulling scams on them all, and you have to purchase SSL certificates for 90 websites.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's going to hit you pretty hard.
Right.
With this, with the Let's Encrypt, everybody's got an SSL certificate. So what they don't mean anything. They're useless.
Yeah.
Completely useless now. I mean, what you go to site, it's like, oh, make sure it's
they're
not
not useless. They're not useless. They are useless for identification.
Yeah.
They are great for encryption between website and browser.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, yes, I would agree. But if I'm running a scam to try to get your personal information,
oh yeah, you can, and you can have done it 3 years ago too.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not a fan of Let's Encrypt.
Yeah, well, I became a fan. I mean, we make less money, but it's okay.
See, that's interesting. I'm surprised as somebody that offers web hosting, you'd be pro Let's Encrypt because you can upsell an SSL certificate. You can't upsell Let's Encrypt.
You cannot. I mean, the only thing that I charge now for a certificate is I think $57 fee one time, and that's it. After that, it happens automatically. So it's fine.
There you go.
But don't think that if it says HTTPS, this is where you are. You still need to use your brains to figure out. If you try to go to Google, and you went to Goggle, and it has an HTTPS, it does not mean that you're on Google. You need to use your brains to make.
This is a big problem now because people are brainwashed into thinking. That
I know that's the problem. This is why I'm bringing it up. You're right.
I know it's a problem. It's a very big problem.
Right. People got used to think that this is for identification, and it used to be in the very early days. But you're right. People are brainwashed. What were you saying, Sergey?
I was saying that trying to get a vast majority of people who are not web developers trying to change their understanding overnight in a very discreet and inconsistent way that Google, Facebook, and all did by imposing this on everyone else.
Sergey, nobody's twisting anybody's arm to use an HTTPS.
I disagree completely.
No.
Absolutely they are.
No.
They are twisting your arms because your website ranking goes down in a bad way. Then anyone who lands on your website through Chrome gets let me away from this website. Something's wrong with it.
So let me rephrase. Nobody's Nobody's twisting your arm to use a Let's Encrypt certificate. You can go and pay the money and buy one. Right?
Why the hell do I want?
No, because you're going to be screwed if you don't.
But see, this is my big issue with it. For example, there's a bunch of the podcast websites. Why in God's name would I have a SSL certificate on a website that hosts
That's
MP3
true.
files once a week?
True.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing in the world.
True.
But no, they are.
There is
Google
no
it's
good.
with mobile sites. I mean, Google's twisting your arm.
But
I agree with the mobile site move. But
that's the way it is, and you cannot change it.
Yes, it is. We can talk loud enough. Google will change their opinion just because of me.
Okay.
The computer's okay now.
Here's something that worries me more. A company is going around buying abandoned Chrome extensions from their original developers and converting these add-ons into adware.
This is a fantastic scam.
The latest case is the Particle for YouTube Chrome extension, a simple tool that allows users to change the UI and behavior of some of YouTube's standards features. Because Google was planning major changes to YouTube's UI, the extension's original authors decided to retire it and create a new one. This is when a mysterious company approached the original author and offered to buy the extension from him for a price of his choosing. The original dev said he gave him a high price, but the company agreed. After the dev signed a non-disclosure agreement preventing him from talking about the company or the transaction. And soon after the sale, the company issued an update that includes code for injecting rogue ads on websites such as Google, Yahoo, Bing. So you see what they're doing. They take something that you've been using and trusting because you installed it, and now it is a completely different app. And they're doing
scam.
it with great scam for them.
Yeah.
Because nobody has certificates. Nobody's using certificates for authentication anymore. This is, a certificate, of course, I was joking.
Yeah.
But overall, a simple tool that would combine both the authentication mechanisms and the encryption mechanisms was a good guarantee for the majority of people that a website is indeed a bona fide website owned by a bona fide owner. Now we are with the Let's Encrypt stuff. We are. We don't have this option because for the most people, it's a free thing that means nothing.
But see, Amnon, here's the other issue with this Google plugin thing. This is an issue across all these browsers. Yeah. There's no change log. There's no update notes. There's no indication that an update is going on with any of these plugins, and many of them. I constantly have to switch what ad block plugin I use because all of them are now inserting their own paid ads into ad block. So I hop weekly from ad block plugins because they all start letting ads through because they're selling their own advertisements. But there's no update notes. You just open Chrome the next day and it looks exactly the same to you.
Mm-hmm.
Huge problem.
Yeah.
I must have 40 add-ons on Chrome. There's never been one indication that any of them has ever done an update. Never. They're automatic.
Yeah, and if you let them sit there, let's say they don't work.
I disable them all.
They don't create an error if they don't work, and then somebody buys them and creates something and tells you, oh, there's an update for your add-on.
Well, the other issue too is with a lot of people that are doing a lot of non-techie people, they may search for an add-on. They install it. It doesn't do what they want. They don't uninstall it. They just install another one that does what they want.
Right, exactly.
So they may have 4 YouTube add-ons running.
Yep.
And one of them ends up being one of these ones that gets purchased and then flipped.
Yep.
Great scam though. If you're a scammer, fantastic scam.
Yep.
Have the guy sign. Wouldn't you think that this guy signing an NDA would have been a little bit of a red flag?
What do you mean?
When this undisclosed company came to him and said, hey, we want to buy your Chrome plugin and you have to sign an NDA and you can never talk about it again. Is that
he wants to make money. He couldn't care less.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
Let's see. Working from home gets a bad rap. A lot of people work from home. Google the phrase and examine the results. You see scams of low-level jobs, followed by links calling out legitimate virtual jobs. But Stanford Graduate School of Business professor says requiring employees to be in the office is an outdated work tradition set up during the Industrial Revolution. Such inflexibility ignores today's sophisticated communication methods and long commutes. So I'm not going to go into more of this, but I remember when Spence started working at home, and it was right when Nortel was cutting back on the buildings that they had at the park, and everything kept on going the same way. I mean, work was done. Wow, what a great situation! You don't have to provide electricity, air conditioning, rent. What's wrong with it?
Well, your work production goes down a little bit.
There's no
100%.
water cooler to stand and waste time next to.
No, there isn't. But when you're sitting home and you have to, when you're supposed to complete tasks A and B and then start working on C for the next day, you may only complete A and B and then goof off. When you're at work, you may complete A, B, and then start on C.
Then it's going to catch up with you.
It'll eventually catch up. Again, it's not that things aren't getting done.
Yeah,
but it's just things aren't getting done the same way. I mean, I've been doing this radio thing from home for a couple of months now. It's very inefficient. I mean, because I start working on something, I see an email. I see some notice. Somebody sends me Mike sends me a message. Start talking to him. So you send me a message. I join a Google Hangout.
So you're saying that once you're down here, you're going to be more productive?
Oh, absolutely. When I'm sitting
Mike,
in an office,
remember that.
Mike's not even here, but
oh,
when you're sitting in an office with other people, absolutely. Well, I mean, the thing is, I won't have the same tools. I won't be able to load up a video game on my school computer or on my work computer when Brian pings me to play something.
Yeah,
that just won't be possible. It'll be be home at 5, be home at 6.
Yeah.
So there's a.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems like. I guess there's something to the fact that you need to be dedicated.
I mean, you work from home. How many times have you been doing something and then you get distracted because somebody rings the doorbell at your house?
Well, you're distracted, but I go right back to it and I do it.
Of course, I mean, it's not that you're not getting your work done, but there's distractions.
And it's different when it's your own company at your work and you work for somebody. Yeah, I guess it would be.
But there's definitely those distractions. I've got a quick note too. This is huge news, Amnon. You ready for this? Skype for Linux finally supports group video calling now.
Wowee.
After all, I think the Windows version had it for like 5 years, maybe 6 years. The Linux version finally supports it. This is all part of Microsoft's attempt to capture the Linux. They're doing their weird thing with Linux, but Skype for Linux was awful when I used it. I was probably a couple of years ago. Terrible.
It has become worse.
Really? Okay. Well, that's a good note.
Yeah.
Just unusably bad.
Yep.
So, more effects of Amazon. If access to Prime is reduced, or in some cases cut off, it can leave many remote towns in the lurch. 12 5-gallon barrels of hydraulic oil, a 2x4x8 of lumber, a pallet's worth of 10-ply heavy-duty truck tires. These are just a few of the heavy, cumbersome orders one Alaska person claimed to have ordered from Amazon Prime. With free shipping, before users started to notice difficulty finding eligible products. For many remote and rural communities in the US and Canada, the arrival of Amazon Prime with its low prices and free expedited shipping was a boon. Hard to get or expensive products were now accessible. So if they cut off these areas, businesses are going to, people are going to go out of business. The whole town can change just because Amazon is no longer serving us. This is serious.
It's the same problem. It's the same thing we talk about with these ISPs.
Yeah.
Amazon has gone into, maybe Amazon's gone into these towns too, but Amazon has gone into all these towns.
Yep.
And promised the world, and they're realizing, holy crap, we are losing money hand over fist delivering to the middle of nowhere America.
And in the
same problem.
And in
the
the process,
same thing.
And in the process, they probably ruined some local businesses.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's the same argument we make with ISPs here week in and week out. It is not efficient for Time Warner or Verizon or Comcast to run high-speed internet to everywhere in the United States. That's why it just doesn't make sense. The money's not there. Now Amazon is realizing the same thing. But yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Not surprising in the slightest.
That's bad. People need to think twice. Nothing good. There's always the other side to every story and every situation. So I'd hate to see a town that people move in and all that, and oh, great. Suddenly, poof.
It could mean the rise to a number of delivery companies that were put out of business because of Amazon Prime. And it's a bad thing, obviously, for the most people. For the most folks out there in Alaska, it's going to be a tragic thing. Literally tragic. To us, we are all used to being delivered to our doorstep, but to them, you just don't get that. But again, that creates a lot of number of opportunities. Maybe there is another company out there that becomes a new Amazon, delivering to those locations that are no longer available.
You know what this is? This is this opportunity for Walmart. They have been trying so hard to upsell Amazon on stuff online. They're trying to compete so hard with Amazon. This is their marketing tool to slam Amazon, and even if they lose money on it, they can afford to lose money on this just to upshow Amazon and call them out on their BS.
Yeah, and
that'll be great for Walmart.
Constantly at each other's throat too.
Yeah, absolutely. They're always buying these little online startups and stuff to try to compete with Amazon, and it doesn't work at all. This would be a great opportunity for them.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. And listen to that. Yeah, I know you're no longer a student.
Student at heart.
Cindy May writes via Scientific American about new research that suggests that laptops do not enhance classroom learning.
Oh, God, no.
And in fact, students would be better off leaving their laptops in the dorm during class. And from that report, huh?
I'm sorry, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
From that report, although computer use during class may create the illusion of enhanced engagements with course content, it more often reflects engagement with social media, YouTube videos, instant messaging, and other non-academic content. This self-inflicted distraction comes at a cost, as students are spending up to 1/3 of valuable and costly class time zoned out. And the longer they are online, the more the grades tend to suffer. You don't agree?
I took a couple of entry-level Java classes in college because they were required courses.
Yeah.
If I paid attention to one class, that would have been a shocker. I probably did $10,000 worth of business selling websites on Craigslist throughout that first semester. I did absolutely nothing in those classes. Computers are the worst things to have in college classrooms. And I played video games, and it was great during baseball season. I could watch baseball games. It was fantastic.
I wonder if
But no joke, they're so inefficient because nobody pays attention, of course.
I'm wondering if there are any schools, universities that actually forbid laptops in the class.
See, it's tough though because all of the colleges have embraced these online portals for work. For example, all of my almost all of the work I submitted, what I did 4 semesters worth of class. Almost all of the work I submitted throughout those 4 semesters was done online.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of different, campus portals. So it's a tough situation. You can't ban that stuff because the college relies on it. I mean, that's how people do their work. That's where the assignments are.
Right.
But they are so. I mean, the computers they're so inefficient in college classrooms. Nobody pays attention, right? Everybody's just on Twitter and YouTube. That's all I mean, that's what I did. You can play some. That's why I got a gaming laptop. Got to be able to. gotta be able to. But see, this is the problem because they made us take these stupid entry level courses. It was a useless course. I mean, everybody in the class already knew what they were doing. So
yeah, and I guess and Tim says in the chat it depends on the student.
It depends on the student. It depends on the class.
The
For
class
example,
itself,
classes that I needed to pay attention, I would.
Right.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But not what was that class? Intro to operating systems? I mean, are you kidding me? What was there to do? So
yeah,
it was tough. But no, they're terrible. Really bad.
And going back to the EU, Google won its fight against a 1.2 billion euro French tax bill after a court rejected claims the search engine giants abused loopholes to avoid paying its fair share. Google didn't illegally dodge French taxes by routing sales in the country out of Ireland, the Paris Administrative Court decided Wednesday. So they say that the fact that their headquarters in Ireland can't be taxed as if it also has a permanent base in France. So they won.
That's what Apple does. That's what Apple does. They pay all of their EU taxes in Ireland.
Yeah.
They got under. They actually, I think right now they're in an issue with some government over it. But it's yeah. I mean, they're paying all their taxes in Ireland.
Yeah. The point is, I mean, and this was a French judge that decided that. It's not like somebody from outside. So that's very interesting.
And that loophole will be closed soon enough.
To accomplish what?
Well, so that they can't do it anymore. They'll have to find somewhere else to do it.
You mean
in order for them not
to find
pay
another headquarters?
No, they'll at the moment they're routing all their income through Ireland because they've got a good tax deal with Ireland. Eventually, it'll get to the point where Ireland say, "No, we want more, we want more, we want more," and they'll have to go and route it through somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's like a loophole. It'll be closed.
You don't think that Ireland is making a bunch of money?
Yeah, I expect the British government will get involved with it because they were bleating on about all the big companies like Starbucks and Google and Amazon not paying their fair share of tax. That's what you do when you're a big company. You don't pay your fair share.
We'll see. And all of us with Verizon, According to Ars Technica article, Verizon recently began experimenting with throttling of video traffic. The remarkable part of this story is not that a wireless ISP will throttle video traffic, but rather that Verizon's own Go90 video platform is also affected by the throttling. It says that Verizon wireless customers this week noticed that Netflix speed tests tool appeared to be capped at 10 megabits, raising fears that the carrier is throttling videos streaming on its mobile network. And when they were contacted by Ars, Verizon acknowledged using a new video optimization system, but says it's a part of temporary test and that it did not affect the actual quality of the video. Anybody noticed anything? Anybody uses Verizon to watch videos that can say that they saw something this week that was not?
Well, is this mobile?
The what?
You're talking Verizon Mobile or
Yeah.
Verizon? Oh, I don't
Well,
know.
wireless ISP. So Verizon Wireless. So
I
that's
don't know
the
what that
phones
is though,
too.
because Verizon used to have FiOS, then they sold out to Frontier. Are they talking about
Well,
Verizon
no,
Mobile?
They're talking about streaming on its mobile network.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't do that.
I don't watch videos on the phone, so I don't know.
And if you do it without doing Wi-Fi, you're really burning it up anyway. So no.
And it
no
goes,
observation.
even if Verizon can get on board with throttling that is why Comcast is so scared of the new laws that are about to go into effect banning it. Banning what? Oh, banning throttling. I don't know.
Screw 'em. Well, we before we are you done with that? I got a couple.
Yes, go ahead. Absolutely.
All right. You ever use it's got a little computer connection here because one of these units has a little computer display on it. You ever use a stud finder?
Oh, those things are the best.
Yeah.
Well, this one doesn't work well. I changed the battery in it. It still doesn't work well. Now, granted, it's 35 years old.
You're kidding.
At least.
Wow.
I mean, I've been in Raleigh 29 years, and I had it before I moved up here.
So what happens when you go over the wall?
It'll give you false readings. It never goes to 100%. It just doesn't work. It's sensing some changes, but they're not definitive changes. It's just not useful.
Okay.
I'm getting ready to hang a couple of TVs on the wall, so I wanted to make sure I get it right because I'm not good at that stuff. Well, I decided to go out to Home Depot yesterday and buy another one. I already have one like this in my toolkit, but I wanted one to keep in the house. See, it's got a computer display mystery listening.
That's what I have.
Well, there are couple of models of this one. This is the $20 one, and there's also a $40 one. I have the earlier version of this one, and it works pretty well. But I tried this one a while ago, and this will knock your socks off.
Mm-hmm.
This thing will tell you almost the curvature of where the 2x4 is behind the drywall.
Yep.
Very accurate, very, very accurate. If you use stud finders, if you haven't purchased one in the last 5 years, you might want to go to Home Depot and pick up one of these Zircon. Now, the others are probably just as good, but this is the $20 one. There's a $40 one that says it has the same depth. It does some other things, but for just hanging pictures and things, this is a good thing. So that's for what it's worth. And again, has a computer display. See there? It's a little display on it, a little computerized display. So we're computerized.
Is it, I've got the 55, I believe.
That's what it is, HD 55.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So for
works great, absolutely.
And of course, Amnon has avoided the big what?
And it will also let you know if there is an electrical line in the wall behind it.
Well, you can drive a nail into that and find that.
Yeah. But it will come up with the lightning in the middle there in the center, and it will beep, 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 beep. So you know that there is electricity in the wall there.
I have to look for that.
Yeah.
And Amnon has skipped over the big news of the week.
Okay.
Amnon is now an Apple fanboy.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to talk about that. No, I'm not a big fan.
That's not true. That's not what I heard, Mike.
Fanboy, but
Go
the
for it,
thing
Nick.
is,
You tell him.
the thing is,
Fanboy.
last week you remember I was telling you that I got this MacBook Air from one of my customers' friends, and I asked him to remove everything from it, everything that is personal. Well, I don't know how Philip did it, but apparently he removed the operating system. And I tried to reinstall and do everything and was on the phone with Apple, and they had me press this, and that, and nothing worked. So they say you need to come in. So they set me up with an appointment for Wednesday. I went there on Wednesday, walked in, and Nick was telling me, he said, Amnon, you're going to be surprised. I walked in, somebody came and said, can I help you? And I said, I've got an appointment. He had an iPad in his hand. He said, your name? I told him my name. Oh, yeah, that's you. Go ahead and stand over there by the MacBooks. Stood there, maybe waited about 15 minutes. Another girl came by, asked more questions and took notes. And about 10 minutes later, a technician came and told me, come on in the back. So we went to the back of the store where the bar is, where the geniuses sit. And he plugged it in. And he said, oh, yeah, you don't have operating system. I said, no problem. He went and got an Ethernet connection to Thunderbolt, plugged it in. He said, sometimes this doesn't work off of the net because it's not fast enough. But we're going to do it from our image in the back. We have the server, and we're going to get it from there. It took 10 minutes, and the machine was up and running. And we were talking in between, and he was explaining some things about how I was saying, well, what if I wanted to get another drive? I said, first of all, could I have replaced the drive in this? He said, if you're technical and handy, you could, but it's not a user replaceable thing. I said, so what if I wanted another drive? I wouldn't be able to install the operating system other than come here. I said, that's all we're here for. And it was, all in all, it was really a relaxing, reassuring, very good experience. And he asked me, he said, so I'm not going to convert you today, huh? I said, no, I'm too deep into the PC, but I see why people like this. And we shook hands, and I got up and I said, so do I owe you anything? He said, let's just shake hands again, and that will be good enough.
He didn't try to kiss you?
And no, he didn't. It would be kind of hard. He had those big mustaches that turn and turn and turn. And
where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. But very nice, very professional. I mean, from the minute I walked in, you could see the professionalism. The only thing that I wanted to laugh real loud at, we say, Macs just work. Apple products just work. That store was full of people with problems.
But see, this is what I was trying to explain to Amnon. With the Apple ecosystem, if you own a MacBook or an iPhone or anything else, you have the slightest issue with the phone, something that you could look up online and fix. Most people just bring it into the store because it's if they live near it, it's just the way to go. Now, if you have a Samsung phone and you're having an issue with some people, I had that stint when I was in the App Store maybe 4 times within a couple months trying to get this battery replaced. There were people that would bring their phones in, and an app wouldn't be working properly, and the genius would sit there and try to and pretty much uninstall the app and reinstall it. But that's what they do, and people bring it in there for the littlest problems, and that's why it's always so freaking packed.
Yeah, I mean and they have a lot of people working in the store too. You see all these guys and girls walking around with little black iPads, and they go from person to person. And I mean, they don't keep you just standing there. Every now and then they'll come and they'll interact, so you don't feel like they forgot you. And that was like I said, it was a very enjoyable 45 minutes that I spend in the store.
Okay, so I've got an idea for a new business, and
okay.
and Stephen Jorvik can have the European rights to this idea.
Okay.
And Amnon can have it here in the.
What about me?
Well, you're busy. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Amnon a wig with purple hair so he'll fit in. And what we're going to do is go out and buy Windows PCs and resell them at twice the price. But if you got a problem, you can call Amnon. He'll help you with it.
Amnon's doing it anyway.
He's doing it right now. That's his business.
Well, there you go.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, if you pay that kind of money, that's the sort of service you expect, or I would expect. I mean, if I paid, $800 for an iPhone, I would expect that I could go somewhere and get some numpty to sort it out for me.
But see, that's the problem. I mean, my last Samsung phone was $900 when I bought it, and Samsung support sucks.
I mean, you can.
That's your fault for not buying the iPhone.
Steve,
but that's my thing with the iPhone. At least the MacBook, I don't know. I've never owned an iMac or a MacBook. But with the iPhone, the Samsung sells phones that are just as, if not more, expensive. At least with the iPhone, you get the. If you break your phone, you can at least go to the store and they'll replace it the same day. You don't have to RMA it, which is, in my opinion, when a cell phone manufacturer asks you to RMA a cell phone. I mean, are you kidding me? What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, and that's not all. I mean, Steve, you can go into a store and buy a $2,000 laptop. You can add stuff to it. It'll be $2,000. You're not going to get any better support.
No,
I mean, I have.
That's the.
Do I?
That is the problem with Macs, is that the accessories and the upgrades are ridiculous.
No. I mean, you can go and buy a PC.
Oh right, yeah.
For a lot of money, you're not going to get good. Yeah. So the price of the product, I don't think has anything to do. I think it's more of that ecosystem. Yeah. It's that atmosphere. That I don't know what to call it. It's their way of doing it.
Well, I mean, they haven't got billions in the bank for no reason. It's because they charge massively for the products that they sell.
Yeah.
And then, fine, they've got the money in the bank to give that level of support. Fair play to them if people are stupid enough to buy them.
And I was telling Hannah about the fact that I said, well, you see, I mean, yeah, this was great, but a lot of people in the store with problems. She said, Dad, you forget one thing. I mean, she is a fan. She's a fan girl. She said, Dad, you forget something else. This is the only place in town that these people have that they can go and get help. With a PC, people go to Best Buy, they go to the different stores around.
Nissan Communications.
Yeah, there are multiple locations where you go to have it fixed. Here, that's the only place, so it's going to look like it's full. I mean, it was full. But yeah, it's a good. That was a good way to explain it. But I just thought that the place is going to be like a ghost town because all Macs just work, right, Mike?
Right, but they mask that because what they do is whether you're in there for repair or in there for purchasing, the crowds look the same. That's how they hide that.
One thing surprised me about him, and as we were talking, and he said, yeah, so something like this that's about a year to 2 year old, you could, and I stopped him. I said, wait a second, I was told this was 4 or 5 years old. He says, really? And he looked at the serial number and he looked on his iPad and he said, oh yeah, this one was sold in 2012. Wow, it's in good shape. So I guess they all look the same. And you can't
still have the same processors.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Yeah. So that's the only slip up that I can think of that that he made is the manufacturing. He thought that it was a lot newer than what it was.
The other thing that I find very odd with Apple stores, and I paid attention to this when I had these issues back near Christmas. There is a lot of people, specifically teenagers, that are walking there with their parents, look at a laptop for 15 minutes, and then they just walk away. It's very odd. They clearly, I mean,
That's all the price tag.
well, but that's not true. They already know the price tag. They know what these things cost,
I
and
don't think so.
absolutely they do. I mean,
I don't agree.
they look at these things. The price tag, they don't hide the price. It's right next to the computer in big bold letters on a little white piece of paper, and it's just very odd how it's people window shop in an Apple store. It's very bizarre. You know what they sell.
Right, but the lion's share of their computers are still dual cores, and they're lucky that their customer base doesn't know what that.
But Mike, with all that aside, that's irrelevant. My whole point is why people don't go into Best Buy and go, wow, look at this computer, wow, this is amazing, and people don't window shop like that. You go into a Best Buy, look at the computer department. There's nobody standing there, but in an Apple store, people are just swarming around these computers, and they just walk away. They don't buy anything.
I'll tell you something.
It's very weird.
I'll explain it to you. These are shrewd teenagers. They take their parents to the Apple store. The parents see the price. Then they take them to Best Buy or somewhere else, and they see a laptop that's more expensive than what the kid needs, but it's a lot cheaper than what the other one was, and it's a whole lot easier to pay for it at this point.
It's just somebody next time you're at a mall that has an Apple store into Best Buy, go into the Best Buy and look at the computer, look at the laptop section. There, you can hear a pin drop in it. Yeah. And then go into an Apple store, stand there for 15 minutes, and you'll just watch people walk in, look at a laptop, use the touchpad, type something on the keyboard, and just walk away. It's the most bizarre thing in the world. It's just
a lot of people.
It just doesn't make any sense. They're clearly not interested in buying it. They just walk in to look at it. I have no idea why.
A guy that was standing next to me, who obviously was not waiting for an appointment, was going between machine and machine, looking in the back and unplugging a plug. He was trying to charge his iPhone. He says, "How do you charge this thing?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "None of these plugs work." What do you say, Sergey?
I'd give you a very weird and funny use of an app store. Of an Apple store. A couple of years ago, in Japan, there are no free Wi-Fi hotspots. Even in the Starbucks, you would have. The Wi-Fi is free there. You would have to have one of the local Docomo, or I forgot the other operator, like the ATT type of stuff operator passwords. So it's free, but you have to have a local phone account. Kind of takes about 2 weeks, and a lot of paperwork, a couple of guarantees from a resident of Japan. Things like, so it's bizarre. Basically, you would be stuck in the country. If you're a foreigner, you would, for the most part, you'd be stuck in the country with no internet or no phone. Right now, a lot of people realize and started renting the Wi-Fi devices, but for the most part, you're on your own. So Apple was the only place in Tokyo. At that point, it was the only place in Tokyo where you could check your email for free. So there'll be the sidewalks next to it would be lined up with foreigners frantically chatting and checking their emails through. So that was bizarre, but it was really funny. There you go.
That would be funny. You would say, "Wow, a lot of people are waiting in line for the Apple Store." Oh no, they weren't. They were actually checking their email. Interesting.
And they were very lenient. The employees were very lenient towards those folks, so they would help them out if they had any questions. Yeah, it was a pretty friendly atmosphere all around.
All right. It's this time. Anything anybody else wants to add here?
There was one other thing, but I don't remember what it was. I'll tell you next week.
No, think about it.
I got a headache. I don't want to think about it.
Okay. All right. Well.
Oh, I will tell you this.
Yeah.
Since we're done with the computer part of the show, actually, this is computer related because it interfaces with the computer. So my wife has a Lexus. She was over at the Crossroads Mall, shopping center over near where Amnon lives, and she said, "I'm stuck over here." I said, "What's the problem?" She said, "My key just fell apart."
Okay.
All right. Well, that's a problem. And so what happened? She said the blade fell off and the fob is separated from it. Well, of course, the fob has the module in it that tells the car's computer to crank.
To accept you as the cranker.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So she was able to turn the blade in the ignition, but she hadn't thought about the fob. Then it occurred to her, so she held it up next to it, and she was able to crank it.
Yep.
Well, anyway, this whole Lexus and other key thing is just a scam. I mean, it's an ultimate scam. They want something like $150 to make a key. And if it's from scratch without an old key, it's like $300. I mean, it's just an insane. So
crazy glue.
Well, it wouldn't work. We tried it primarily because these cases are nylon and it's really difficult to glue to nylon. Well, what we found out, of course, is that it turns out we had two keys. One had the fob, the buttons don't work as well as they should. And then the other one, the buttons work perfectly, but the key case was broken. Well, I took the guts out of one, put it in the other. Now she has a perfect key. Well, I want to keep the second key working. I finally educated myself on it, and the explanations of how these keys work on the internet is just overly complicated to the nth degree. It's just not complicated. What I did was somehow I found the key code, which you have 5-digit key code, went on eBay, found a company out in California that will make a blank key in a case. This is welded into it with plastic welding, so it's rugged. So all you have to do is take the cover off and put in the guts inside the head of it. Well, it's a dual-sided key, and these things are cut by a laser guided deal. But what happens is if they've got the key code, they can make the key without having your other key. And they went through all this on the website and said, "Oh, this is a problem. This is not a problem. We can do it." Yep. So anyway, I sent all the information in, found the key code, sent it in, ordered the key, 2 for $18. And then they say, "Oh, there's a problem with your order." "What's your order?" "Well, you're going to have to send us a picture of the key. There are just too many ways that things can go wrong."
Interesting.
Well, there are other sellers on the internet say if you need it, you have to show us a picture of the key. Okay, it's fine. Strangely enough, I had already taken a picture of the key, and so I emailed it right back to them. And believe it or not, 2 days later, these came in the mail. Swapped the guts out, went out there, put it in the car, cranked it right up. $9.
Yeah.
Thought it was a scam by the way you were telling. It definitely sounded like one.
I mean, Mike, it's nice when somebody cannot steal your car.
Yeah.
They can steal it. I got insurance.
Well,
yeah, Mike's hoping that they steal it.
I'm warning them to steal it.
Then leave the key in there.
Actually, here's a shortcut that one of the key makers told me about. Actually, he said, I have a Nissan car. So he said, "What year is your Nissan car?" It's too early to worry about it. Nope, you have a chip in there that would I ordered a key replacement. So he said that I'd of course be able to do the metal part for you, but not the electronic part. The electronic part will cost like $50, and there's another address you have to go there. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a try. But he said, if the old key is still around, what you can do is you can hot glue it to the ignition, right underneath the
Yep.
ignition, where you crank it.
Mm-hmm.
You use the metal one with no problem. So that's
Right.
another option.
It's true.
Interesting.
Yeah, because all it is proximity.
Proximity. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
It's like NFC.
Well, there's also there are also some gadgets out there that allow you to completely fool the system so that you don't have to even have one of those
Yeah.
RFIDs or whatever they are. And so John wants to know the name of the company that made the key. I believe it's called 1010 Keys, 1010 Keys, I believe is their name on eBay. And I got to tell you that the experience was not a good one. They accused me of not responding to their email. I checked everything. They said they sent it to my eBay account. I never got a bunch of emails. Then they got snarky with me, and because I communicated with them by email, they forwarded me supposedly all of these emails they'd sent. And I'm telling you, I went through every spam filter. I went through everything, and I didn't get them. I don't know who they sent them to. But ultimately, the keys did work. The only thing I did not like about what they did is, you know how when you have a key made, you use a wire brush to clean the burrs off?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe they do that.
So you
when
had
you
to
get them
clean
in,
it.
you might want to take a little wire brush and brush them a little bit. And Rover sent me a link to watch. I'll watch that after the show.
We got only one key with the X3, the BMW.
You better be careful.
I know, and I found out I got 2 keys from Amazon for $20 and had them cut for, I think there was $30 a piece locally. But there is no way to get those, and they do have a chip inside, but you have to have it programmed. And with all my connections, nobody with their diagnostic software and able to do some keys can do it for that one. I have to go to Leith, and it's $195 a piece.
It's a ripoff. But
I know.
Because, for example, on the Fords, when my son had to do his, what you do is you would turn the ignition off and on 5 times really fast.
Yeah.
And then it will learn the key code.
Right, but not if the chip is not programmed for the car.
Before you pay that money, did you ever get them working?
No, not yet.
Talk to John before you do anything else. He's sort of gotten into this stuff. He may have some secret weapon.
I will. I've got 2 keys on the shelf and worthless.
Let's do it.
All right. So thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Sergey. Thank you, Mike, Steve, Nick, Mike, everybody. And good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember, practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a great week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.